ready. And what does he do? Stop it! Stop it! First, I would just like to ask you a bunch of questions. I would like to have him answered immediately. I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. Do it! I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. My CPU is a neural net processor, a learning computer. Screw your freedoms. Stop it! Big baby bumpers. First I came to America with $20 in my hand. Then I end up marrying Kennedy. It was me who actually told all the other guys on Predator. We started smoking stogies. We would wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning. And we would go and do our training and get a hard on in the jungle in Costa Rica. Yes. Bullshit. Fuck you. Fuck you, asshole. Fuck you, asshole. Stop it! Fuck you, asshole. How you doing, everybody? 12 people in the room. So many people in the room, man. We're coming in on a nice little D minor. Suspended. How are you getting on? Go fill up before the chat begins. Johnny Sideways in the house. He's a strong, supple man from Tala. I must get the current native from California on here. Ask him what he's up to, what kind of car is he driving? Is he dating Eastern European women? Does he smell like almond butter? I don't know. MG's Motors. He was just thinking about Hardy Bucks today. What a coincidence. And the man is on the screen. Robbie Heenan, how you doing, lad? Burning that purple herb in my brother. Staying out of the pollen in. G.I. Jane 2, starring the guy who helped you guys prepare for the king of the town. Jay Daly. Jay Daly. Yo, crack with you boys. Nice little musical intro. It's been a very long time since I spoke to you. It's been a long time. Been a lonely, long time. So much to unpack and get into in terms of the hot takes. You know, pass it in the mosh pit and bounce with the rock shit. Throw your hands up, as Fred Durst would say in the 2001 chart-topping smash hit album Chocolate Starfish and a Hot Dog Flavor Water. So you're very welcome to the show, everybody. Good to see you. Billy White, MG's Motors, Jack Ladd, Robbie Heenan, Tim, John Sullivan, all the boys, man, all the boys. Jay Bumpman is on the United stand, talks very passionately about football and sportsmanship. Sports, as in lads, team sports, franchise sports. Where have I been? Well, I've been working and I had the kids at the weekend, and you know, there's been a lot of watching. I enjoyed watching Aliens last weekend with my daughter, who's 10, and I was like, do you want to watch Aliens? We watched iRobot with Will Smith, funny enough. You know, the lad who, it was just days before he cracked Chris Rock. Was it Oprah Winfrey or was it Ricky Lake, as in real or fake? I don't know. But what I do know is people are very sick of being lectured by multimillionaires who have very privileged lives, who pretend for a living. People like Sean Penn, Alec Baldwin, you know, people who really are, you know, out of touch with what it means to live a life where, you know, you're trying to make ends meet, you got kids to feed, you're paying the mortgage of some slum landlord for fuck all in return. These people, they think they're virtuous and they're going to get up, they're going to win their Oscar nomination, and then they'll just patronize you, talk shit to you. So with that in mind, I think, yes, people are sick of the Oscars because they're a lot of fucking shite. Was it something, knocked up in order to, get people talking about the Oscars? I don't know. But Jubilator, how you doing, lad? Love paying someone else's mortgage. Oh, it's fucking class, man. It's class. They get to go to the Algarve while we get to fucking sit in eating Goodfellas pizzas, watching Coronation Street. Oh, brought to you by Maggers. Luke, Sean Penn's a grass got El Chapo nicked. Sean Penn, man, what's he doing down in Ukraine? He's on about getting some billionaire to buy a couple of jets. What's that can do, mate? You know what I mean? First of all, you'd have to get pilots. And then TQ says, keep my wife's baldy head out your fucking speech. Oh, man. Hey, how are you getting on, Gavigan? Dead hedgehogs, how are you getting on? Lecture me now, mawnnnnn. But Sean Penn is a year, says Paj Mahaj, fair play to you. Yeah, what's the deal, man? He's trying to get some billionaire to buy a jet for the Ukrainian boys, right? And then what's going to happen? Some lad's going to buy it out of his own money, where there's plenty of other fucking worthy causes, really, than buying a couple of MiGs or whatever it is that will get shot down instantly with S-200 air defenses. So probably one of the most depressing things ever the other day. It was the skeleton of a dead soldier. I don't know if he was Russian or Ukrainian, but it was literally just a skeleton with a load of really cute puppies nibbling away on the skeleton that was just lying in the trench. I was like, God, I've never been so confused. You have this macabre sight of a skeleton, which was presumed obviously someone's son, who's been killed in combat, and then puppies eating the skeleton. So it's just one of them kind of fucking mad things that Dr. David, we were supposed to talk tonight, mate. I'm very sorry about that. I had a bit of a kip this evening. Rumor has it that David Icke took his name off Wild Wild West because he felt he became too daft. It wasn't daft enough for Kenneth Branagh, mind you. He was in it. And, was it Kevin Kline as well? Going straight to the Wild Wild West. Yeah, man, fucking Jazzy Jeff even got a touch on that. Very funky. They probably, a lot of Will Smith songs were samples of other songs. So that little funky harpsichord piano vibe was probably sampled from a Stevie Wonder offering. Hit the thumbs up, everyone. There's 28 of you in there, yeah? Oh, someone was like, boom, straight on it. I like that. That was good. I enjoyed that immensely. So we get a couple more there. There's 20. We lost two people. The two people like this going, I'm not going on there. Oh, they're back. Or maybe two new ringers have entered. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay. Let me see. Johnny O'Sullivan says, I heard the Boo put Will Smith in an immaculate sleeper hold after the Oscars. He was like, hey, let me go, please. Sean Penn is a yurt. Joseph Dennis, did you ever see The Thin Red Line, Martin film? I did see that film about a good 20 years ago now. Hey, Woody Harrelson job, Buzz's father. Sean Penn was in that as far as I remember, but there was a fucking sick bit where like they were just taking some poor Japanese lad's teeth out with the pliers, and I was like, what were you doing with the teeth? Bringing them back as a trophy, yeah? Sean Penn is here. Graham Russell says, did you see that Klim wearing a scuba mask in the shopping centre because of COVID? Any thoughts on that? I just think there's a lot of very fucking stupid people out there in the world, and they seem to be getting more and more emboldened in their stupidity. But you see, they've somehow conflated stupidity with virtue. And, I mean, if you look at Sweden, for example, there was a lot of people who weren't really deemed as being, they had a diminished responsibility and needed round-the-clock supervision, and they just let them all out recently enough, and it was like, here lads, here you go, do what you want now, you're all right. And I think I don't know, sometimes I think at the state of the world, I'm like, were people always this fucking stupid, or is this some sort of like, I mean, it has to be some sort of advanced mind control coming from like repetition and putting the wrong people. Like if you look at the absolute fucking nonsense that we have in TikTok here, with people talking all this bullshit about pronouns and fucking, my name is Zergen and my pronouns are and you're like, where did these dickheads come from, man? What they need to be bent over. Man or woman, doesn't matter, just in front of the parents, and that will, just get a team of smegma crazies like the lads from Mad Max 2, just to like knock on their door, and I think they're actually the same people, so they're probably doing that anyway. I don't know. Got a bit confused there. Sorry about that. Smegma crazies. I actually went to the Mad Max 2 museum in Silverton and found out that they were called Smegma crazies. Vernon Wells and the boys, and the Golden Youth, the lad who gets the metal boomerang into the forehead. Ivan, a massive dump. We've all been up the Jada. Buzz did it twice up the alley. Zan Solo, pleasure, Martin. Jack Lad, the good like button. Lad, do you see the dislike button? Oh, dislike button's gone, man. I would always have it would always be like a mostly positive experience with my streams. But I do miss the three thumbs down for those who are like, I didn't like this, but I'll watch it anyway. How are you, Kevin E. Moran, man? Well, Eddie, love watching the channel at work. Do you know what? This is something that I have realized lately when I'm also at work, is that you want something regular, a bit of chat that you can just kind of tip along to and be like something regular to look forward to. I know that I'm more of a night man, but I really should, do more to talk, to you guys, and like, if you have any questions, fire them at me, whether it be what my opinions are on certain world events, and all I'm going to do is basically regurgitate talking points that I've seen from other people who have more successful channels than me. But also I'll use my own discernment. You see, I'm not in the ground. Let's say if you look at the Ukrainian conflict, for example, I'm not over there. I'm not there. So I can't tell you what's going on, other than if I go into a Telegram group and look at some mad shit. And, all I can do is try my best to decode the information and then have a little chat with you about it. But as they say, I was going to wrongly cite the usual shit that people write in their Twitter bio. It's like, all views are my own. They do yeah, you fucking shit. I don't know what I'm on about, to be honest. I hit the like button. Why haven't you, cunts? Says that one guy. A man, hey, a man. Luke, do you reckon ADHD medication is good for studying, Martin? Well, I'd say I've been prescribed this medication, and I tried a couple of different ones. I tried Censorship, which it was a time release, so you get about 30% of it in the morning, and then it's basically I've cracked one open to see what it looks like inside. And it's like a membrane of some sort of cellulose. So it's like a gobstopper. It's like different layers, and over time your stomach acid breaks it down. But the time it takes for the acid to break down the inner membrane is probably about 3 hours. So in the afternoon, you get like the second dose, which is about 70%. But to be honest with you, I didn't feel myself. Not that I actually couldn't feel myself, but I just didn't feel myself mentally. I wasn't like the same mad bastard I enjoy being. But there is another form of medication which is called Attentin, which is dextroamphetamine. And you take one or two of them. You take two of them, and you'll fucking have a laser focus. And then when they wear off, then you start feeling a bit tired. But they're great, man. They're fantastic. I don't know if there's any like long. I mean, I know that if I don't take them, if I forget to take them, the day's a bit of a fucking write-off. But as soon as I take them, it's like, ooh, I think I'll tidy the house, or I will finally get around to writing that script, or But the other thing is like the internet is a massive distraction. Even if I do take the medicine, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm actually going to do it. I need to start things. So that is the answer to that question, Luke. Number one, will there be any more Hardy books? Listen, it's in the pipeline, all right? It's in the pipeline. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there's something in the pipeline, okay? Something is in the pipeline. And it will be independent. and it won't have anything to do with fucking TV. It'll be different from what you have been seeing in the TV catalog, and maybe more back to how it was in the early days. But it's early days, and yeah. Lad, do you have a Telegram channel? I jump in if you do. Well, the thing is, like, I've got like and this goes out to all the patrons who have, for the Hardy Books channel. Thanks for everyone who has been, on Patreon, but I'm not fucking great at keeping up with this shit, man. Too, my fucking head's all over the place. I was good, and I haven't really been doing any of the podcasts lately. Maybe I should do a Maloney's Digest Patreon if that helps. But it's just, I had like the Discord group for the Hardy Books podcast, and I just fucking, man, it was just like when I started the Maloney's Digest Discord, there was so much information coming in, and like I'm rarely even on Instagram these days, or Messenger, or Instagram. It's just like, just over the lockdown, and it was just too many people getting onto me, and I just needed to get a bit of a break from it, to be honest. But I need to just organize my time better. Justin Scroll, shite, I'm busy right now, but if you're happy to see a new stream, streaming, I will watch you later. I miss you all. Good on you, Justin, lad. Good on you. Fucking hard boys, don't stop. Johnny Sideways. Johnny from the Hills making an appearance. Man, Johnny. Oh. Must be a hard stretch out. Yeah, well, just to somebody like, I do spend too much fucking time on Twitter, but for a man who, it's like crack to my brain, man, because it's like, more information. And then like sometimes, then you'll get really pissed off because you actually see how misinformed supposedly intelligent people, like there was a woman who was a retired doctor, all the flags in the bio, which is, anytime you see people with like European Union flags in the bio, it's like, these are going to be some hot takes. So yeah, and then you just see like, it's like, I've been watching this guy called Gonzalo Lira, because he does some quite interesting. He's apparently in Kharkov, and he talks about what's going on there in Ukraine. And I don't know, like, it's been going on for 5 weeks now. I don't know why I'm still interested in it, really. It's just, it'll eventually, like all the other conflicts, it'll just keep going on like it did before this year when it started. It'll be in the papers and the new, or it'll be on the news sites, and then it'll just be like, replaced by something else. There's some weird shit on the horizon, I feel, though. I think, one side of me asks the question, is Putin in on this? I mean, he was a member of the World Economic Forum. You've got this fucking bullshit lockdown in Shanghai, which is supposed to be disrupting a lot of trade routes. And are we going to be facing, you have the inflation and the price of oil going up, and they blame this on the Putin invasion, which it was happening way before then anyways. It's a complete shit show. I don't know if anyone's seen poor old Joe Biden when he was, walking around in his own gaff, being ignored by Obama. But it's pretty obvious what's going on there. He is a puppet. He's been put in there as a front man, and Obama's running the show. Like he said, there was even a video where it's like, I'd like to just have a person where I can, put an earpiece in, and I could be directing him, telling him the words of the earpiece when I'm in my basement wearing my, my gray jogging pants, or whatever the fuck he said. Twitter is the depths of shite. Ben Daly, very, very accurately put. It is the depths of shite. But it's also, the thing is with Twitter, it is the place where a lot of people go to for instant information. And you got like even Jack Dorsey's come out recently and said that he feels responsible for the way that the discovery of information had been curated. I mean, in a nutshell, that they're censoring people, and you'll always have these wankers who say, "Oh, but it's their company; they can say whatever they want. They can let people, they can ban whoever they want. It's a private company." It ceased to be a private company. It is basically effectively the town square, and it's where I fucking loathe censorship. Like, I mean, you don't see me like advocating to censor fucking, nutters who are doing a lot of damage to young people with their bullshit fucking opinions and pseudoscience. And, I wouldn't call for any censorship myself. And the mad thing is with fucking, you'll write something in, you'll do a search engine, and then you'll see a lad sucking some lad's flute, and it's like, how come this, or like a woman who's getting bummed or something, you know what I mean? Like real hardcore sex going on, and it just comes up, and it's like, but like opinions and words are censored, and people have their channels nuked or their profiles nuked. It's fucking stupid. CM Fox, how you doing, mate? Good to see you, lad. I listened to the Russian podcast, and according to them, phase 1 is complete, and now they will try and defeat the Ukrainians in a massive confrontation in the east. They expect at least 6 months of fighting. Well, I'll tell you something that was quite interesting about Zelensky. There's a guy called Moisky, who's a Israeli Cypriot Ukrainian, and he actually, according to this video Gonzalo Lira said he was the guy who owned the Ukrainian television network, which funded Man of the People or Servant of the People, which was this show that Zelensky, starred in. They did like 3 series of it, but apparently the PR around this, seemingly mildly entertaining, prime time comedy show was quite overt in how it was pushed. And then what happened was they then said servant of the people or something like that with this political party, and Kolomoisky actually used Zelensky to do what he did in the show, but become a president in real life. Now, according to some people, they reckon, and the Panama Papers, Zelensky, like all these Western media companies that hadn't really, had been just pushing the narrative of Zelensky being some sort of like, honorable man of the people who's doing his best to fight off the invaders. They were also talking about the corruption that was happening over there. And he's apparently worth something like 1.4 billion. How the fuck, tell me this, like how many, like we're talking earlier on about the Oscar winners, how many of these like class A, these first class fucking, Robert De Niro, Alec Baldwin, Meryl Streep, Jim Carrey, Morgan Freeman, these lads, like how many of them are billionaires? Whereas this lad's worth like 1.4 billion, and apparently he gets 11 million a month in one of the poorest countries in Europe, if not the poorest, most corrupt country. So that's quite interesting. But you won't hear this, you won't hear this from any of the mainstream news. I see the muffiny ass bastard himself, Brian Stetler from CNN, got called out in college by a college freshman, and he just said, "Oh, these are right-wing talking points about CNN being just fucking complete mind rot. It's not a news. It's just a fucking propaganda outlet." Dr. David, Joe Biden was at least one of the lads in Lemon Party. How'd you mind? That one guy. Twitter algorithms have you pinned. Shane, CA8, the New World Order started on 9/11, immortal technique. It's been planned for centuries. Oh yeah. I mean, you had Bush Senior talking, and when we do have this New World Order, and we will be successful. It's all just, it's been planned for ages, man. I think it's been planned, like I say, probably pre-French Revolution. The Ukrainian army apparently hate Zelensky, especially the Azov, because of obvious reasons. And if he called on them to surrender, they won't listen. It's a right mess. Yeah, I mean, there's some fucking awful shit. Like the thing that happened, I don't think you can mention it. But the thing that confused me, look, you're always going to have bad eggs in any army. But when I listened to your man Lira, he was saying that when an army starts losing, they start doing crazy shit. And he was saying that maybe some of these civilians who were killed might have been, seen as being collaborators with Russian forces. So look, I'm on. First, I want to clarify this by saying this war completely fucking unnecessary. It's basically the same people like Tory Newland and Anthony Blinken and all these fucking guys, Lindsey Graham and McCain, who's dead now, but it's the same. They're the same people who brought you ISIS, same people who were providing cover and support east of the Euphrates River to ISIS. They're proxy armies used to destabilize the region. Then, of course, you have like the Burisma, Hunter Biden, and the Hunter Biden laptop. It's a conspiracy. It's bollocks. No, it's all coming out, man, and it's this fucking sham that is known as liberal democracy, and that these like Brian Stelter people say is so. It's dangerous for our democracy. I'm sure you've all seen that compilation of the news anchors. There's about 50 of them reading from the same script. Dangerous to our democracy. What is the democracy? Like, what does this mean? It's like, I don't know what the alternative is, because this is what we've lived under, but it's just basically one big fucking buffet for people at the top. And I think, like I've said before, I naively always thought it was always about bringing up the poorer regions of the world to our level, but it's not. It's about fucking bringing all of us down to just one big fucking third world economy, while you're going to have like the top tier of people, as Orwell would call them. It was like the inner party and those at the top, and that's how it always is. And man, like Event 201, for example, that was what preceded the pandemic. Then you got Cyber Polygon with Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum. So these things are on the horizon, and food shortages like this is, you think shit's bad now, but if like Russia and Ukraine being some of the biggest manufacturers of wheat and grain and fertilizer, that's going to drive like this is the thing. Like you got a country like Ireland that has lots of land, and why I don't understand why we're not growing more, like we're not doing what Holland is doing and growing more of our own food. Like I'm not just, Ireland is mostly grains, but it's mostly meat and dairy. But like that meat and dairy needs grass, and you need fertilizer to keep those grass yields in order to feed the livestock. And it's happened in Ukraine, it's happened in under the communists, it's happened in Ethiopia and places like this. But beyond a no mistake that this is going to be a intended famine, and I can't imagine, like, look how fucking soft we've become in the West. It's like we literally can walk down to a shop, get a microwave meal, bring it home, pop it in the oven or the microwave for like 7 minutes, and then you've got a meal you can eat. If there's no food left and people start starving, that's when you'll see. If you've ever worked in the service sector with hungry people, it doesn't matter how well dressed and how well spoken they are, they behave like animals when they're hungry. That's why fights always happen at the chipper. You've got randy lads who never got laid, drunk and hungry, looking to bait lads to impress women. But usually women aren't impressed by that, man. Let me see, read some of your comments. Zelensky's some lad who was backed by some Israeli lad hiding in Switzerland. That's right, Jack lad, Kolmoisky. Shane C88, you, Peter, nothing but ripping, and Professor of Right are such a fucking joy to listen to when you're on. Like having a meet up with friends in a bar. It's also one big script, always has been. Yeah, look, the thing is with me, and I think this is why I never really had the commercial success that I should have for the talent that I have. I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but when it comes to like, it's like whether it be music or fucking art or whatever I'm interested in, I do a good job of. But I think in Ireland, when Hardy Books, looking back, I was like, it was like you try and contact agents and they just, not interested, because we were just very anti-establishment from the beginning. And I think going forward, the role of the Hardy Books is subversion and piss taking. Just absolutely. I think if Hardy Books had been on TV in the last 3 years, we were doing a series in this last 3 years, we could have, swung the woke pendulum into the middle, because when we started, things were too fusty and conservative. So we were kind of bringing it out into a more progressive angle. But now it's gone fucking too far. Whereas like you just want to be straight down the middle, CM Fox, that Lira is off his head staying over there. I don't know if he's more brave or stupid. He's shining the light in some right uncomfortable places regarding the Ukrainian regime and army. Well, according to him, they reckon that there's that the Azov are inside this massive steelworks in near Mariupol, and it's like a city within a city. It's huge, but they reckon he's saying like there's something down there. Where's Barry? Barry Wester. So but there's something down there. I was on his live stream yesterday, shit posting saying like they've got drag time story. They've got story time drag queens just hiding in the tunnels and lads shifting and all this kind of stuff, and just shit posting. I do enjoy a good bit of a shit post session. It's good. I do like that. Nepotism, brother. Scutter is all there is now on Irish TV. Well, funny enough, okay. So I got this. I got this IPTV, and I was like, oh, yeah, I can watch some shit on Irish TV. And I was like, so I put on RTE, and I think I was there. I was on it for about 15 seconds. I was like, fucking hell. Let's watch. Let's see what is on TV now in Ireland. So basically, okay, we've got 35 people watching. But I mean, obviously, for you guys, which I'm very impressed with, is that you would rather watch me than this. Oh, there's one here that says for adults. What's this here? Oh, sorry, I can't feel it. That's I don't like the way for adults is at the top. You know what I mean? It's so UK. So let's see what's on RTE right now. Okay, Q RTE. Okay, let's see what kind of shite is on. Let me have a little look at this now. Bear with me now. Where's RTE? RTE. I see Russia Today is gone, so we can't even get the news from them anymore. Viper's going to be sickened about that. It's a nice little touch. Where it was going. It's a nice little touch. It's a nice little platform to go onto his thing. Bear with me now. All right, here we go. Let's see what's going on.
Are you joining in?
Cool.
If you look at most great ads,
so it's a show about
on a sort of a product
adverts.
I think the thing with the share offer was
there was
almost nothing you could say about the product. All you could sort of say is there's something happening, it's a big thing, and it's happening.
Wow. It's great, isn't
that was it, really.
Yeah, I remember the man with the beard at the start, bro.
He remembers the man with the beard at the start.
Okay, and I knew the song already because Planet did it,
I heard this piece of music. I heard a couple of different recordings of it.
Yeah. So that's what your tax money's going on. Fucking brilliant. What's an RT2? Let's see what's on. Oh, it's McGahern. Look, I'm fucking McGahern. Kill. What's going on here? Look at McGahern. Where'd you get the suit, McGahern? Taxpayers paid for that suit.
Yeah, called his dog Hitler. And I was like, why'd you call your dog Hitler?
Why are they sitting so far apart from each other, man? Fred Cook, what are you doing there, Fred?
Hitler's half brother lived in Dublin. He worked in the Shelburne.
Yeah, in the kitchen.
He had an Irish wife.
Yeah.
It's his half brother.
Fucking hell, and all the big names are on there. Jason Burns on there as well, man. McGahern, you better be making some nice money, you could. Oh, you buy me a fucking pizza next time we're at fucking Fibers, eh? Oh, what's on Virgin Media?
People with no military.
Malachi, bro. Oh, here we go.
Terrific stuff that I've seen.
You've seen this?
Children decapitated by the effects of the bombs there, and it's just really awful. Like the Russian campaign in Syria, and it appears now in Ukraine, is eroding these red lines of conflict that have existed for decades. and seems to be able to do it without any accountability.
How big a challenge, Malachy, do you think we face in this time of misinformation? We get a glut of information on social media and videos like we've never seen.
Okay, so whoever Malachy is, I'd like Malachy to come on and have a fucking chat with me. But if it wasn't for Russia providing air support to the Syrian army, which basically was an AstroTurf coup facilitated by social media such as Facebook with the Arab Spring. If it wasn't for them, ISIS would be completely running amok over there. And believe you me, I saw some of the shit that they were doing to people, putting people in cages and setting them on fire. But you see, they were basically being paid by the State Department and probably Israel and the UK. And, you know, see, they need to create a villain in order to perpetuate their never-ending fucking war on terror. Just like the war on drugs, which basically was a self-fulfilling industry. And lads like Malachy, fucking Malachy, yeah, I've seen it. I was there. A lad's thumb came off. You know, so this is it, man. This is, you know, this is what I don't miss about being back in Ireland. I miss the people. I miss going home and seeing family and friends and having the crack with sound people. But TV, man, I fucking loathe Irish TV. I can't stand it. It's like Dara Payton, the man Dara. Jacques Fahey, I have information that will lead to the arrest of Mikey Sam and Hillary Clinton. Joanne McNally sounds like a cheap doorbell through a megaphone, says Dr. David. Jack Ladd, RT is just putting out that low IQ stuff. CM Fox, would you go and fight when the Russians invade Gotland? The Russians are in for shock when they try and take over Swedish infrastructure and they haven't got bank ID. Oh man, that's fucking brilliant, man. That is CM Fox knows the fucking crack, man. Yeah, I mean, look, there's, you know, the media over here, like the Swedes have always been shit scared of the Russians. Like historically, the Swedish, when Sweden used to be an empire of tough bastards, before it is what is now the neutered state of arms dealers and you know, fucking the almost virtue signaling on almost a religious aspect. I think this is what happens when you take Christianity out of a society. You know, otherwise people like Catholic Church, oh God, Catholic Church. Yeah, there was fucking wrongings in the Catholic Church. I don't trust the Vatican. I don't trust the Pope. I think it's basically a power structure that held a lot of. I mean, who knows what they omitted from the Bible. Don't, you know, anything that is that big and mainstream is something dodgy. But I think there's nothing wrong with the core tenets of Christianity. I think if you manage to try and live your life by the Gospels, you know, if you try and use that as a basis in which to live your life, you won't go far wrong. Easier said than done, but like it's like a handbook of like how to live your life without shitting on yourself, you know. But like what's happened is when you remove that you know, that structure of ethics, and a lot of people will disagree when I say this, but there's a lot to be said for the spiritual void that has been replaced with avars, you know, and signing up this kind of armchair activism it's kind of been replaced with like football and sports and you know, like any kind of campaign, or you know, it's like the thing, it went from Corona to you know, Ukraine, and it's like people, you know, it's just like, oh, I have to, you know, show that I'm, you know, nobody really fucking steps back unless the dust settle. And I can guarantee you, when the dust does settle on the whole Ukrainian thing, it'll just be next, and there'll be just the media is now more it's actually more potent and influential than heads of state. I mean, like there was an episode, or there was a film like The World Is Not Enough with James Bond, where Malcolm McDowell played like a Rupert Murdoch character who was basically creating conflict by you know, making up, you know, it's like wag the dog kind of stuff. Opinion on China right now, says Mac Monkey. In what respect? In the lockdowns in Shanghai, or the authoritarian social credit rating, or what my favorite Chinese cuisine is? Kill, dirty, clickety clack, fuck, ooh, RTE, ooh, RTE, radio tubbers, fuck my tits, tubbers. Sorry about that, let's get carried away. RTE, we get taxpayers' money and adverts. Ooh, RTE, ooh, fuck off. Fucking, you know what? It's a den of mediocrity. I mean, look, thank you, RTE, for giving us a start in the beginning. But all the people who were fucking, I mean, it seems everyone's fucking gone. How are you, Christian? Sorry for not answering earlier on. I was at the kid led. Shane C88, you're a man of great taste, Martin. Do you remember Mindfuck on the Sci-Fi Channel back in the early noughties? Late night, loads of mad short films from the UK, like Aphex Twin stuff. That, for me, I was always a late night Channel 4 BBC Two guy. It was always, have you tried the vaping, Martin? Says John O'Sullivan. I did, and I was just kind of like, these are way better, so I just stuck to them instead. But yeah, I used to always love The Left of Field. It was a brilliant show on Channel 4, the late 90s, early 2000s, called Vids, and you can find it on here. And it was just low budget, fucking fun stuff. There's a guy called Nigel Buckland who was one of the presenters, and I know they're both really funny. But this Nigel guy, it was just like he would do these epic walking talks. So like what they would do is they would review a film. So one film that they were doing a review of was Hell's Angels, I think it was called, with Jack Nicholson. So they would make kind of the outer containing episode about the themes of the films that they were reviewing. So like this guy Nigel Buckland, it's a tight close up of him sniffing an old 1930s Harley Davidson saddle, and he goes, Sam Hellcat's in Heat, the 1968 film featuring Jack Nicholson. And he would go on, and then at the end of it, he goes, he likes him young, doesn't he? Fat Jack. But yeah, Noam Chomsky's after you. Yeah. Cardinal Flanagan, how are you, Martin? I'm good, thanks. How are you? I changed my name from Cactus Rider. All right. I like the way you put in parentheses CR to remind me of Cactus Rider. Good to have you in, lad. Good to have you in. Johnny Sullivan, the RTE are great lads. Let's all sing Ireland's call and not recognise the 6 counties. RTE together standing tall. Yeah, the old 6 counties, man. You know. I read a survey that only 1 out of 3 would actually want to join Ireland. I mean, if you look at the mediocrity, I mean, infrastructure-wise, you're kind of like, it's like, imagine, I mean, I don't know what it's like living up in the north, and with all the fucking conflict and colonial history bollocks aside, I'm just going to park that. I'm just talking as in brass tacks, healthcare and roads, infrastructure and whatnot. Could you imagine like the handing over to just the fucking incompetence? I mean, look, the reason I get miffed about it is because I love my home, my ancestral home of Ireland. I love its people. I love the culture. I love the history. It's a country that's been mired in fucking bloodshed and war and intrigue and betrayal, but also much like Russia, it's a country that's steeped in romanticism, bravery, valor, but also, deceit and betrayal. And I mean, that's why I think the last time Ireland was ever a fully unified country was under Brian Boru, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of, it's often is the case, it's a country that's divided against itself, but if you consider, just like go to Busaris, man, it's like it has been redeveloped, but the fact like you go to Dublin and it's like fucking dirty diesel engine buses everywhere. It's like, imagine being a tourist from Stockholm right? Which is basically, you know when the next train is coming because the screen that says the next train or the next bus will be here in 2 minutes, in 1 minute. And about 95% of the time, it arrives on the minute. You have an app, an SL app, that basically says, where are you going to? And it'll say, okay, it's going to take you 5 minutes to walk here, then you're going to walk 200 meters, and then you get a bus, and then you get another bus, then you can go here. You know, it gives you an exact layout, and each one of them links in the changing of transportation is bang on to the minute. So you go to Ireland, like, imagine if you wanted to go to Dunleary and you've just arrived in Nassau Street. Okay, fair enough, you take the 46 bus, but you imagine if you're like a Japanese tourist who's just arrived and you're taking public transport and there's just a whole load of buses. No one, it doesn't really fucking say where it's going. You know, there's no like, whereas here in Stockholm or Berlin or, you know, like Manhattan doesn't have this. You know what I mean? Like that was one thing that when I went from Sweden to New York, I was like, what, is this it? Like, you know, I mean, it's impressive with the skyscrapers and the culture and the history and the fact that it feels like you're walking around in your own movie. But, you know, in terms of, you don't know when the next train is coming. It's fucking trash on the side of the city. And this was, what, 2006? So this was like under when Giuliani and, you know, his chief of police had it, and they had the zero tolerance and they cleaned it up. You know, I don't know what the fucking crack is with Giuliani. Could be a bit dodge. Did he know something about 9/11? Won't go into that. But it was you know, gentrified and clean. But now it's fucking De Blasio and you know, it's just like all of these fucking. I mean, there was a footage of two people shagging on a train, just having at it. A woman being done from behind, and it's just like fucking hell, like this. Just like we're cascading. I mean, it's just nothing means anything anymore. It feels like Mark in Peep Show. It's like nothing means anything to you anymore, does it? Words like love and relationships and fusty old words like codpiece. Okay, Buster Sprinkler got independence, then handed it straight away to the globalist bigwigs. You know, there you go. Like, I mean, you know, I've got a good friend of me over here who's up the north, man. And I was like, you know, he was mentioning, what about the north, man? I'm like, I said, it doesn't matter if you're in the UK, if you're in fucking Ireland, Wales, Scotland, you know, Sweden, Argentina, all of these existential threats that are, you know, our countries and our people, you know, everyone, every indigenous culture is going to be fucking homogenized, like, and turned into a fucking McDonald's or Disney Plus. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that kind of, and you have people who just like, oh, traditional, you know, they're so quick to cast off the, you know, the fucking, the trial and tribulation of their nations, you know, like whether it be Italian or, sorry, it was a friend of mine, Vinny, was texting me. But you know, it's just like, you know, every culture in the world is important. It's your link to the past. It's the individual's lineage, you know, and this globalist shite doesn't fucking, it just pisses all over that, man. It's like severing people from their history. Okay, Dr. David, RT is just like any other public sector organization. It's just more visible. There's no incentive to do a good job because everyone is unsackable. Yes, and it's a closed shop full of vapid middle class nepotism. That you know, it really is a very succinct point. That's exactly what it is. It's like it's the idea of like, if I go to work and I do as little as I can, but make it look like I've done enough, that'll do. I'm getting paid. You know, like the likes of these lads who are sitting in offices, they just fucking go there, clock in, you know, and you see them all. They're all like these fucking, you know, South Dublin, leafy suburb, Georgian red brick terraced house merchants who are like, yeah, well, I'm just gonna go for coffee. I'm gonna go down to Dybrook with a croissant or something, pound of chocolate. Okay, I'll bring. Oh, let's just go on the last send out. Yeah, it's 5 fucking lattes, please. You know, they don't give a fuck, man. It's like, more power to them. Do you know what I mean? It's like same with the politicians. saw something interesting today on Reddit, which was basically two different opinions of. Let's see what this lad says first. Oh, he's gone, is he? Fucking Malachi's turned all grey. Look at his. There's no sound, man. Malachi. Oh, Malachi. Where are you now, Malachi?
A big job, a big role, and a salary of €187,000, Richie. And Dr. Tony Houlihan's new role is really in the spotlight this week. He was before a private health committee today, explaining details around it. Do you think, his explanation of it, the idea that he is relinquishing his role, but he's not resigning, and still on the taxpayers' money, what do you make of it?
A lot of this doesn't make sense. It's handled very badly. I mean, the media would be the first to criticise the government for not having a pandemic preparedness policy, for not having experts in this area, and for not having an ongoing dialogue between pharmaceutical companies,
and still
authorities,
still you have dickheads like that, Dublin artists.
That's all fine. We wish we had that 4 years ago.
You have dickheads like that artist in Dublin who was like, Tony Houlihan, Superman, like brain dead cunts, do you know what I mean? Shane C88 says, politically correct virtue signaling culture is fucking rife and it stinks to high heavens. The Will Smith drama is all part of it, cutting down on what you can't joke about. The deeper problem is with Will Smith is I'd say his wife was a fucking lunatic, man, and she's probably gaslit him. And I mean, she was fucking shagging lads left, right, and centre behind his back. As my mother would say, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And I tell you that, I mean, like, this is the other misconception of believe all women, this kind of thing. It's like women and men, they both have the complete fucking, they're sentient beings. They're human beings. You know what I mean? Whereas sometimes men would resort to being physically strong because that's a lot of the time when you're a man. It's like, okay, is there a physical threat going to come from this individual? And if so, can I take him in a fight? That's how men usually deal with men. Whereas like growing up with women, it's a lot more subtle, you can have your fucking head wrecked by a woman who, would mean to do you fucking. And I could already hear people go, this would be like a clip of like, oh my God, did you hear the way he's talking? It's like, it doesn't matter if you're a fucking man or a woman. It's you have individuals that when they have malevolent intentions can do a lot of fucking damage without people knowing. Like gaslighting, you can be gaslit by a man, or like Hillary Clinton. Do you think that's an honourable woman? Do you think that's a nice woman? Is that a woman you'd leave your kids with? And this is what I mean. It's like just to be able to just go no, because this individual is of one spectrum of the gender, a particular genus. She is infallible. So with that in mind, I think fucking Will Smith's head's probably been done in behind the scenes. And I don't know, I watched that. First of all, there's two things. If that was indeed a real slap, why would he get, like, when she rolled the eyes, was that kind of like, oh fuck, I have to step up here now because I'm going to get a bollocking later on when I go home? Who knows? But the fact that he says, take my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Have a fucking laugh, man. The world's too serious. Like they're doing away with good comedy. Like I watched the Office Christmas special, man. That's one of the funniest fucking bits of TV ever. Would you get away with doing the Office Christmas special nowadays? Would you fuck? The 11 o'clock show. These are comedy shows that I grew up with, and it has it has to be fucking honest, bold satire, and it needs to take the piss. That's what you need to take the piss. Like these fuckers they're too powerful because they've basically done it in such a way where, you know, you'll get some fucker suing you for making a couple of fucking jokes, you know. And I think it's up to comedians to be fucking reckless, as in just take the fucking piss, man. Like delegitimize the power of these super serious fucking dry bastards. And that's that, really. Okay, let's read some of the jobbies here. They want to bring in congestion charges in the future to all the major cities in Ireland, yet there is fuck all public transport infrastructure in the country to make it a viable option. It's all about just squeezing, and like this fucking centralized digital currency, CBDCs. But that's going to mean there's no nixers, there's no fucking doing jobs on the quiet, there's no buying and selling things. Everything you make there'll be a note of it, and you'll be taxed on it. You know, they just want to fucking squeeze everything out of the working man and woman. I'm buying all the big global. Yeah, Chris, you got stocks in Raytheon and Boeing. Blood money you got. Sam Atom retreats to the hills, Maloney. It's fucked. We are felted. Yeah, Bastard Sprinkler, the old divide and divert attention tactic. Hate the Brits and don't look at who's really fucking you, the boys at the top. I guarantee you, the boys at the top, they're the one. Like England is fucked. You know, all these big, like, once monolithic empires, France, Belgium. You know, they all did bad shit in the past with the colonialism. You know, that's, you know, that was your first Spanish Armada, to a lesser extent Portugal, but this was like globalism in action, but this was military globalism. I mean, basically, it seems to. I remember reading a thing years ago saying how communism and capitalism were in bed together. I always got confused until recently. It's basically they're using communism as in, like, you know, taxing us all, keeping us all in line, and you know, the centralized planning of massive demographics, and they will milk us of our resources. You've got this fucking what's his name, Noah Harari, the guy who wrote Homo Sapiens. I bought that book from the airport a couple of years ago, and within like 15 pages, I was like, this fucking book is shite, man. This guy's a dickhead. And then he's coming out recently going, what do we do with all the useless eaters? All we can do now is keep them entertained with drugs and computer games. And it's like, you know, they see us, these fuckers, as, and he's like the right-hand man to Klaus Schwab, and they look at us with the same cynicism that very wealthy people living on estates would look at a population of deer or rabbits. It's like, you know, they look at us as like we're basically taking their resources and their land, and they want to push us all off their land, take the land. And David Icke always talked about it being a Hunger Games society. So they will use means such as centralization of power and use that to take away the freedom of expression, the freedom of property ownership. Look at Ireland now. I saw recently that they're setting up a pension for generation rent. People who won't be able to afford to buy their own property. The prices of, you know, here in Stockholm right now, if you want a flat, you know, a nice new flat, or it's just a regular fucking flat that is in, you know, within the 20-kilometer radius of the center of the city, you're looking at, for a flat, to spend 600,000 euro. There's not enough rentals, and it's fucked, you know. And how, like, no one is going to be able to afford. What you do is you get on the property market with a small place, then you trade up, and you keep trading up, and that's what you do. But at the end of it, you're still left with this big apartment that you're not going to be able to pay off. So it's Martin, you wearing a badger? Yeah. Oh. But it's fucked. You know what I mean? Like they're literally, like, you look at how much, you know, parents' generation, one parent needed to work, you know, that a house was affordable. Now it's like the idea of owning a house in any major city now is the Black Rock boys making all the noise in RTE. Black Rock, also the holding companies, Larry Fink and Citadel, Vanguard, all these guys. Will Smith wouldn't have slapped Lexus, I could tell you that much. Oh, he fucking wouldn't. I'd say old fucking Lexus would have gotten right under the fucking jaw, man. Pez Bauer says, why can't we all just blaze joints and chill out? CM Fox, they're wankers, a lot of them. 2 years of this COVID log and now these sanctions that seem to be hurting the West more than Russia. It's almost as if it's planned. They can't be this incompetent. They really can't be this incompetent. This goes way beyond incompetence and just into pure negligence or malcontent. Arnold Flanagan, maybe Will should have knocked the other lad's cranks out of his wife's mouth instead of knocking her name off Chris Rock's mouth. Like Dr. David, I enjoyed Will Smith in the pursuit of slappiness and the clenched fist of Bel-Air. Fucking beautiful, man. You're an absolute renaissance, man. John O'Sullivan, Will Smith, Chris Rock, ball alley job. JG, it was a real slap. Will's a bitch. Shane C8, 88, bottom. CM, he didn't seem to mind that rapper's cock being in his wife's mouth. Will Smith, Brian says, Will Smith shouldn't have lasted an hour in an Irish secondary school. You know, in fairness, man, Irish secondary schools were fucking, like the school I grew up in. I mean, my year just seemed to be absolutely, like, I remember Owen and Tom saying, your year was like the fucking worst year of the lot, man. I mean, like, the nutters in my year, man, and there was about 25 lads who just loved fighting, and then I was like a big lad I was like a fucking Labrador. I didn't like fighting. I never understood like lads who would go out to nightclubs just to fight other lads. I never understood why. It was just never on my radar. I mean, for me, if I was out in nightclubs, it was like, will you shift me? Will you shift me? Like, I was more into. I was always a lover, not a fighter. But it didn't mean that I couldn't full control slaps, though. Do you know what I mean? So that was good. I think if you have kids, get them into jiu-jitsu, get them into kickboxing, get them into wrestling and boxing. I mean, it's one thing. Look, at the end of the day, right? You have a lot of these fucking softies nowadays who never got fucking rocked. They were never in a street fight, and and that's because the law is in such a way where you can't. But I mean, for centuries, if you dishonored someone, you get a fucking slap, or you duel it out. Honor meant something. It's like the samurai culture. If they brought dishonor upon themselves, Bushido blade, it'd be harikiri. Honor is. I mean, like, it's a very important thing in many cultures, but our leaders, our supposed leaders in the West, are dishonorable. They don't have any honor. Honor, integrity, morality. These things are void. But when I was talking earlier about the centralization in the kind of a communist kind of way, what they've done, this is the point I wanted to make. They've used let's say the Marxist doctrines of the Frankfurt School and infiltrated major institutions such as Disney, such as mainstream media, the LinkedIn, all these kind of big tech companies are all owned by Citadel, BlackRock, Vanguard, these holding companies, Berkshire Hathaway. So they mean, like, this is how they do it. Why is it when you watch a Premier League match or the World Cup, it's like pride flags everywhere, and it's like this? It went from Pride Week to Pride Month, and this isn't me knocking on gay people, because I asked a mate of mine here. I asked two friends who are gay. I said, how do you, when you see this like being just fucking plastered everywhere, how does it make you feel as a gay man? And they're like, yeah, it's fucking stupid. It's patronizing. It annoys gay people that this fucking stuff is just being, like, it's just, this is FIFA, this is Premier League. Then it was like Ukraine everywhere, and I was like COVID everywhere. It's just like sports is now used as a way to just fucking bludgeon people over their heads how to think. This is it's like that meme, I support the current thing. And who else are you going to get in Ireland? Like from, you know, that is going to, like for me, I know that these things that I speak about, I'm not brand friendly. You know what I mean? No one is going to want me to do any fucking campaigns because it's too risky with the things I say. But I've always been that lad in school that was always in trouble for fucking saying what was on my mind. I mean, it's a no filter fucking ADHD thing. I can't. It's like that Tourette's documentary where it's like I could never really play charades because I just go Jaws. You know, I'm a bit like that as well. So Mac Monkey, real comedy speaks truth to power and laughs. Yeah, that's why you had April Fools, the day where the fool was king for a day. Cardinal Flanagan, whether it was real or fake slap, them doing nothing to him emboldened angry fans to feel justified going at a comic that offended them on stage. Yeah, and this is why, if you know how to fucking angry fans, man, you fucking give them a good crack across the jaw, and you know they'll soon fucking shut up. We are on a tax farm, says Sparky. Absolutely, they're basically harvesting your time and energy. And just fucking pissing it away. There's no right or left. They're all in bed with each other. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Whit H, hi from New York. Hey, New York City. I was talking about New York. Hey, what are you doing? You see, go down there. Fucking, you got a little pizza there. Fucking get down to Koreatown, get some of that nice beef jerky. Dr. David, Jack Duckworth licked out Duck Cotton in an unaired crossover. Blimey. Have you seen Steve McDonald? Why is he's gone so weird lately? He's talking like Norris. That's for Coronation Street, for any of you who are unfamiliar with the longest running soap opera in the world. CM Fox, they've spent everybody's pensions, so they've got to go before 65. Yeah, like when people talk about pensions, like by the time if we get to that age, what's going to be left? In Murta, how you doing, man? I'm an Irish lad, just moved to London, and I just binged the entire Hardy Book series. It's genuinely the most brilliant, candid, and realistic comedy show I've ever seen. Good on you, Aidan, mate. Head up to Highgate, go into the Highgate Inn. You'll see a couple of fucking big shots around that neck of the woods. Best Power Productions. The internet has given everyone a voice, but a lot of people talk shit. Gotta give them a good slap every now and again. Not just in the physical sense. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but then you try and fucking say something, then you get kicked off. Which H, we had a vote here in the US to cap insulin at $35 a month for those who needed it. 97 out of 100 senators said no and never passed it. Fucking hell, man. See, these senators, they're all inside traders. You know, it's like they've got massive stocks in fucking Raytheon, Boeing, and all these munitions companies, and for them it's like war is, when they always, I remember someone saying to me when I was a kid, like I was about 12 and I was at this place called Perch Rock in New Brighton, and it's a fort that was on the Wirral Peninsula in New Brighton, and the job of that was to counter pirates that would be coming out of the Mersey and then attacking ships and whatnot. But I remember someone, we were they did like a reconstruction or reenactment of the Confederate and the Union Army in the Civil War, the American Civil War. And I remember, they were saying, so I can't remember who it was I was talking to, but this fellow was saying that one of the best things to invest in war times is razors, because soldiers had to be shaven. And that was one thing he said, but then he also said that war was brilliant for the economy. So, but what is the economy? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, let's say war is good for the economy, is in the economy for manufacturing of arms and surplus equipment and, uniforms and, medicine, all this kind of stuff, fuel, tires, whatever. But like, if your true economy is people, is a workforce, then you're sending the flower of your nation off to death, and just so people can make. Thanks very much for the super chat. Who Cardinal Flanagan, cheers for such a great place to chill and have the crack. Oh man, you're very welcome. It's all of you, you know. Like I love doing this. Tonight I was like, oh, I haven't done it for a long time, but I was like, fuck, it's my chance to do it. And I do enjoy these streams. I really do. You know, it's you're really good sound skins, and you know, I've seen in other like live streams, no one's talking to each other in the comment section, whereas I enjoy having a back and forth with you. The internet has been. We see. We had a. Maloney's always got your back. Trust me on this. You guys will see shortly what I'm on about. Glenn Crushing. Did you hear Liam Payne's interview post slap? Scutter talk. What was that about, Graham? Jack Ladd got a few slaps. A good few slaps do wonders for the young. Give them a bit of a reality check. See, this is the thing, man. This is in Jack. In that there encapsulates the essence of modern day life. You see, there is this thing called reality that doesn't give a fuck what you think your pronouns are, what your who you think you are. You know, like your fashion, or you know, your fucking socioeconomic background. Like, reality doesn't give a fuck. And if you ignore reality and you continue on, the natural law of life will eventually bring you back down to reality. And what we're seeing globally is it's like, you know, if you're living in prosperous times and the economy is going well, then usually there will be that kind of you will feel the benefits as a society. And in the same way, if you have corruption and rot on the level that we're seeing, you know, in the States and especially in the States with what's going on there, this is how Rome fell. Like, you know, like they said, Rome didn't fall in a day. It's basically the corruption got so overt that you had like municipal workers who would maintain the aqueducts and the roads. They would look at their superiors who were corrupt, and then they'd be like, well, what if they're not leading by example? Why the fuck should I come up and do my job? And then eventually everything just falls into disrepair. Again, and you know, and if you want to see that in the States, drive through Trenton and New Jersey. You know, like these are just towns that, you know, that were once like booming nexuses of enterprise, and like, you know, you can thank Henry Kissinger and all these fucking assholes for sending all the I think it was an Adam Curtis documentary that said our job in the West isn't to work, it's to consume. It's basically our job is to a lot of people in Europe and you know, Sweden especially, their service it's a service economy, you know, IT, and same in Ireland now. It's like it's gearing very much towards you know, big tech companies and financial institutions, especially in Dublin. You know, where's that going to get you when the shit hits the fan? Like, what do we manufacture in Ireland anymore? You know, if there is mad shit come down the pipeline. I mean, look, this project Polygon. You know, I read something today that that Anonymous had hacked a Russian TV network, and it's like, Anonymous, like, okay, that's a very nebulous term. Is it like, what's the deal with Anonymous? Are they a centralized group of hackers, you know, or is it basically anybody who just is anonymous, an anonymous hacker can just say, oh, Anonymous did it? And what I mean by that is, like, they say Anonymous did it. Well, that's fucking great, isn't it? It's like, well, who are Anonymous? We are Legion. No one knows who the fuck they actually are. And it's not like, they haven't really done an awful lot. You know, they have, like, it's funny how they've never taken down, like, genuine war criminal baddies from the West who've instigated fucking all the violence across the Middle East in the last 25 years. And yeah, and now then they attack Russia. But we're only getting, like, we don't have like, you suppose, like, every story, there's fucking three sides to the story. We're only getting one side of this story, and of course people are just lapping up. This is like, ugh. They need punishment, man. That's what they need. They all need punishment. CM Fox, for me anyway, around 1999 was the peak of the West. Yep, absolutely. 9/11 was kind of like a watershed moment. It all seemed to go to shit, and it's getting worse. Absolutely. And for those of us who are old enough to remember that day of September 11th, 2001, I'd never been to New York, but that had a fucking profound psychological effect on me, because you'd seen it in films. You know, this iconic monolithic twin structure in the New York skyline that was all of a sudden not there. And anytime you'd like watch a film, you'd be like, "Oh fuck, this film was made when," you know, it was like that. And the tsunami 2004 also had a psychological effect on me. Dr. David, Keith knocked out a lad who got on the stage with a telly during a Satisfaction in 1981. It just happened and passed. No one gave it any great deal of importance or theorized about it. Yeah, if you look, there's loads of videos of Axl Rose just diving into the crowd, fucking pulling cameras out of lads' hands and punching people. And same thing with Billy Joel from Green Day. Like, he smashed his guitar up on the stage and some lad tried to grab it, and he gave him a good creeling. Jack Lad says, democracy is just a front for these billionaires. Absolutely, yeah, to run the world. It's the same with most democratic countries. Always two parties taking turns to carry the torch. Yeah, and I guarantee you this, when these midterm elections come up, if it's not rigged, the Republicans will take the House and the Democrats will be in the White House. It's complete fucking theatre, man. It's absolute bullshit. It's nonsense, the whole lot of it. If you do get a party that are trying to make a proper change, the other party just form a coalition against it. Yeah, that's what they always do. Whit H, could they hack and give us all great credit and 100,000 in the bank? Why hasn't anyone done this? You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, wouldn't that be fucking great if all of a sudden you woke up in the morning and we all had a shitload of money in our banks? Like, why aren't hackers doing this? You know, like, where are the Robin Hood of the hacking world that rob from the rich and give to the poor? Because if someone wants to fucking do a bit of that, man, I'll send you the details. Anne Monaghan, Martin, check out Melissa Kumi on Richie Allen this afternoon. Well worth watching. We are in a currency war right now. She reckons 12 months we will all be on the credit system. Ireland is gone. She's very good, her, actually. Sarah from the Irish Inquiry sent me a link that they did the other day, and she's fucking great, man. Good looking woman as well. I'd say she'd be good crack on the pints. But yeah, very. She's not, you know, she's very as a matter of fact. But it's like it's like these are the kind of people who should be on the news informing people, but they're not, because like the news is controlled by all of our fucking news stations are now basically Pravda. They're just outlets of propaganda. Well, thanks very much for that, Anne. Cardinal Flanagan, did you hear about a good amount of Apple workers? They were told to return to work by X amount of days per week by X, then more by another day. What's the crack there? Up in arms telling their employer how and from where they will work. I haven't heard about that. Have you heard of the cicada Twitter competition? Happens every few years. There is one clue. And it is said those who solve the puzzle are recruited into shadow government as hackers. I wouldn't be one bit surprised. Would not be one bit surprised. I mean, if that's the place you're going to do it, you'll do it there. Bastard Sprinkler 3000. All we can do is try to be decent people and do what we can to be nice people. It's all screwed, lads. I love all of you. Cheers for that, Bastard Sprinkler, man. You're a good lad. And Marlon, yeah, she's brilliant. Love Sarah from the Irish Inquiry. You know, look, here's the thing, right? It looks bleak now. I think a lot more people than I expected have woken up to this. I think if you haven't woke up, like I've said this many times before, when you have, first of all, you need to have an open mind. And you need to realize that truth is often stranger than fiction. Secondly, you should not rule anything out. And that goes to that goes to metaphysical or interstellar. We don't know. We don't know really what preceded our lives and will happen after we die. Like, this is all we do not know. We don't know, like, the origin of the human species. You know, is it biblical? Is it extraterrestrial? Who knows? But it seems to me that there is some sort of, I mean, I can't understand it. It feels like the majority of people are kind of stuck in some bizarre fucking trance. And repetition, whether it be subconsciously or using symbols or for God knows what kind of covert tactics. But I think it's a form of hypnosis. And I think there are those who are impervious to hypnosis. If you keep repeating, repetition is a form of hypnosis. And I think there's a lot to be said regarding that. But yeah, what I meant to say was that everything is cyclical. This isn't, nothing. There's nothing new under the sun. I think obviously these people who are running this weird globalist experiment, they know that they have a finite amount of time. I mean, like, it's pretty obvious to see in terms of, if you follow American news, that everything that was considered debunked, fact-checked, fake news has indeed been vindicated. Like, these news institutions have no credibility. It's like, the same people have been fucking pulling the wool over our eyes for 2 years regarding Corona are the same people who are basically giving us one side of the story in Ukraine. And these news corporations, they won't be sending their kids off to die. Like I met a couple of really sound guys who were Marines who were over here recently, and one of them had a tattoo of "We the People," and I was like, "You're like Ron Paul," and he was like, "Yeah, this guy knows what I'm about." And I said to them, "Well, how does it feel? You're putting your neck on the line for a government that don't give a fuck about you." And they're like, they get it, like they totally get it, but they signed up and they took an oath, and there's obviously a chain of command that needs to be observed. But like, they were cool dudes, man. Really good lads. Pets Power Production. They were sailors. Oh yeah, they were sailors, yeah. Well, they were sound dudes, man. Good lads. I enjoyed chatting to them. I would like to start going over to the States, and I'd like start doing comedy gigs over in America. I would enjoy that. But like I said many times before, if America goes, then the rest of it goes with it, unfortunately. So I'd like to see, just honest and critical news coverage, and people who are, we need people who are brave, because I think there's the silent majority that don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to put their head above the parapet. They don't want to, it's understandable. You say the wrong thing, you're not going to be you're not going to be employed. People have families. People have, it's only for the select few people with the courage of conviction to say what needs to be said. So yeah, that's my fucking thoughts on that. But we're nearly at 1 hour and 25 minutes. So I hope you've enjoyed the stream. It's been nice talking to you. I know it's a lot of it is heavy going, like, but this is what the crack is. Do you know what I mean? This is what the crack is. Shadowy wrongings around the towns, living in big gaffs, sailing out to sea. They sniff kids' hair, they smoke in the crack. We came, he saw, he died. Twitter softies with the flags in the bio, middle-aged men in masks, saying that he's gonna wear one at work and at home because his boss is removing all restrictions. What kind of a fucking life do they lead? soft as shite. Touching cloth, says Graham Russell. The cloth on their gusset has been tainted with shite from a Cleveland steamer. Green linen job. I saw some lad on Twitter, right? I can't remember his name, fucking Ray something. Basically a poor man's Eddie Izzard. Some director who wears suits but a skirt with tights and stilettos, and he was giving out about grain linen. It's like, what can you do? I was just looking at this, being like, all these people are fucking mental. They never had to chase the crow for food around the boreens of the west of Ireland. They never had to do the silage, never had to foot the turf. They never got a slap at a teenage disco. Fucking city schlickers, walking around wearing a pair of women's knickers. Just like Ed Wood, the director of the horror movies, played by Johnny Depp, directed by Timmy Burton, Billy Crystal Job, Billy Crystal Job, fucking Cashmere, Billy Crystal Job, almond milk, Alpro, soy milk, oat milk, pea milk. I don't mind the almond milk that much. It's pretty fucking tasty. Sometimes even a little bit of avocado toast. I love a craft beer, but I wouldn't be fucked spending so much money on pints for 10 quid. Just give me a 4-pack of Pratsky, or a Carpacki, or a slap of Bavaria. A bottle of Scudo, or Nobleman Sherry from Little Galahad. There you go, a little song there for you. Just a 6-pack of Dutch Gold. Oh man, I got sent a fucking hilarious video. Yeah, I'm actually I'm gonna show you this before I go. It's literally the rock shore that I was taking the piss out of, and someone has actually, I mean, it's just it's so beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful stuff.
Here we go, some light swaps that I'm taking for 2020.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Here we go, some light swaps that I'm taking for 2022. Moving my indoor cardio to some outdoor cardio. You can't go wrong with a bit of fresh air. Swapping mundane weekends for road trips with my friends. We live in a beautiful country and I want to make sure I see more of it by the end of 2022. And swapping a regular beer to Rockshore Light. A refreshing tasting lager with 1/3 less calories than other beers. This is Rockshore Light. Here we go, some light swaps that I'm taking.
Some light swaps, man. You know, I mean, he really is living the dream. Really is living the dream. What's my favorite beer? Ask JR. I don't really have. To be honest, don't really have. Where the fuck did you get that accent? Don't know. Probably got it from UCD. Soy Life. Yeah, so that's that. Remember, Rockshore Light is out there, so you can enjoy this. And I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, everybody. If you do have if you want to tip me, if you getting any enjoyment out of this, and you want to fucking throw enough for a couple of fucking blind boy pints, throw us a couple of quid on PayPal there, and everything, great or small, is appreciated. Thank you very much. JDB, have you ever seen a snake and a rat work together? Oh, is this a rhetorical question? Get back on Nothing But Ripping with the lads. I haven't spoken to the boys for a good while, but they're fucking sound hard lads. They all sound like Brian O'Driscoll. I remember once we seen Brian O'Driscoll in Nando's in Dundrum years ago, and was like, "How are you, fucking Brian?" He went like this. I was like, and then I met him then a couple of years ago at the IFTAs, and I was like, "A man, Brian, you pretended not to see us there at fucking Nando's." He was like, "Yeah, he'd fucking sound enough, to be fair." And his wife's still cracked, to be fair to her too. Sound people. Master Sprinkler, lots of love, lads. Take it handy, Martin. Good luck. Yeah, good luck to you all. I might even be doing another one over the weekend. Maybe might get a couple of guests involved. We will see. We shall see. But it won't be too long next time. I've really enjoyed the crack. Speaking truth to power, man. It's the fucking way to do it. Don't be scared, lads. Don't be scared. Because yeah, you know, fucking just stick together. Enjoy the great outdoors if you can. And I mean, I need to take my own advice, because I just fucking sit around the house fucking on the phone, like, instead of going out and doing stuff. But yeah, just take a nice walk through the woods with your nearest to dearest, or do some fucking hill climb and get some fresh air into you. Cold showers, man, and lay off the fucking wanking. But on that note, good luck to you all. I'm on the phone. Call me back then, says Pez Power Production. Right, good luck to you all, and I'll chat to you again. Toshi on.